Hi folks, and welcome to today's stream. What I'm going to be doing today is explaining how intervals work. It's one of those things that has lots of awkward words and everyone gets a bit confused by it, but it's actually really straightforward and won't take very long, I hope. But if you have any questions or you get confused, you can always hopefully write a little message in the chat and I will endeavour to make it clear what's going on. So here we go. Let's start with a major scale. So here we have a C major scale. Simple as that. And when we're talking about intervals, we're talking about which notes from the scale, or otherwise, they are. So to start with, all we're going to do is simply give each note a number. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Oh, I didn't mean that to go up there. Let's bring that back down again. We're here. There we are. Right. So, the distance from C to D is a second. The distance from C to E is a third. Fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth we call an octave. But same thing. So that's very straightforward. But obviously we're missing out any accidentals or anything else. So we need to be a little bit more specific. So an easy way that happens is, in this case, the second is actually a major second, to give it its proper name. And we have a major third. Oh, actually, I'll tell you what, I'm going to cut those down a bit because it's a bit big. So maj for major. Now when we get to 4 and 5, things are a little bit different, and we'll explain why in just a second, but they have a slightly different name. So a fourth is a perfect fourth, but I'll just keep that down, fourth. And a fifth is also perfect. A sixth, again, we're back to being major. Oh, I forgot to actually write 6. So that's a major 6th. And this is a major 7. And an octave is also perfect. Now the reason that we have these some are perfect, some are major, some etc. is all to do with obviously what happens if you have a minor scale, where things have to be a little bit different. So just below here, it happens to have shown up. This is a C minor scale. So now we have B flats, E flats, and A flats. You may be used to playing a C minor scale with a B natural. It's important to remember that that B natural is a changed note to make what we call the harmonic minor scale. But the key signature actually has a B flat. So the natural minor has a B flat and A flat and an E flat. So here our E in an E natural is a major third, an E flat is a minor third. Am I pressing the right button? No, I'm not. Why is that not working? Come here. Why can't I write on this? Hang on, I'm going to try and do it a different way. Ah, there we are. So that is a minor third. And our major 6th becomes a minor 6th. Oh, I'm making a right mess of this. Sorry. And similarly, the B flat would be a minor 7th. Sorry, I'm having some technical issues. Why is this not letting me write on it? There we go. Let's try it that way. Space. Minor 7. For the moment, we're going to ignore our little d there because that's an awkward one. But our F and G have stayed the same. So because the F and the G are both in and for that matter, I should have mentioned the octave, are both exactly the same whether it's major or whether it's minor. That's why they get called perfect, because they exist in both scales. So that's still a perfect fourth, and this is still a perfect... Oh, what am I doing? I have no idea. There we are. Let's try that again. Minor. Oh, what am I doing? No, sorry. This is going to be a perfect fifth. And should be a G. Okay, so, as I said, D, however, is a little bit awkward, because a D exists, again, in both the major and the minor scale. But, for reasons best known to the world at large, but not me, it's still called a major second there. And a D natural, that interval is always going to be a major second, whether it occurs in the major scale or the minor scale. But we do have a minor second, which would be a D flat. So that's a little bit strange, and as I say, I can't really think of a good reason for it. If anyone does happen to know, then please do tell me. So between all those notes, I believe we've now got all the options we can have. So you start with the C to D flat is a minor second. C to D natural is a major second. Minor third, major third. Perfect fourth. That's the one I haven't done. F sharp. We'll come back to that in a second as well. Perfect fifth. Minor sixth. Major sixth. Minor seventh. Major seventh. Octave. So that's basically how it works. So if you're trying to work out what the interval is, you just have to think about whether it's the, first of all, how many steps away it is. So if you're going from C to F, you go C, D, E, F. Great, that's a fourth. And because it's in both the major and the minor scale, it's going to be a perfect fourth. But, as I said, let's get rid of all that for the moment. And we can get rid of that key signature. What happens if you go from C to F sharp? So that doesn't occur in either scale. But it's still 4 notes away. We're going C, D, E, F. So it's definitely a fourth. But what's happened is a normal fourth is from C to F. And what's happened is we've made it a little bit bigger. And that we call augmented. So if you augment the interval, you just make it bigger. So C to F sharp is an augmented fourth. If we respelled that, instead of calling it an F sharp, we're going to call it a G flat. So it's still the same note. But if we're counting our steps, we go C, D, E, F, G. Now it's got to be a fifth. But it's not a perfect fifth, because we know that should be a G natural. So this is our other strange word, is diminished. Which just means, again, made smaller. So these are our options for sort of ways to describe intervals. That if it's been stretched, it's going to be an augmented something. If it's been squished down, it's a diminished something. And you can actually do that to any interval. So, for example, if you start having weirdly spelt things, so instead of going from C to A flat, which is C, D, E, F, G, A, a sixth, and because it's the A flat, it's a minor sixth. If that's respelt as a G sharp, again, that is going to be a fifth that's been made bigger. So G sharp, C to G sharp is going to be an augmented fifth. Simple as that. And if you end up with some of the strange enharmonic things. So say, for example, C to E, that we know is a major third. An E sharp is the same thing as F. So it's very tempting to think, oh, well, that's a perfect fourth then. But it can't be a perfect fourth because we're going C, D, E, F. No, what am I talking about? I was calling it, sorry, I will start that again because I didn't explain it very well. We're not going from C to F, we're going from C to E sharp. So it's 1, 2, 3. So if we have this note here, as it's E sharp, it's got to be something 3. So that is going to be an augmented third. Oh, why can't I? Let me type. And that's how that works. So what I'm going to do, if I can find my page, where's it gone? Intervals. Oh, that's not the right one. This is the right one. Sorry, bear with me just one moment. And we're going to have a little look at something here. Sorry, I haven't got this set up quite right. So I have to just, again, bear with me a little moment. There we are. Now this is a massive pile of notes, but actually it's pretty much all the options you could have. So if we go through and get rid of everything right the way back to the beginning, there's quite a lot to get through. From C to D flat, remember, was a minor second, which is odd, but I'm afraid that's just the way it is. Let me see if I can just zoom it a little bit more. And put that right at the top. And then from C to D natural is a major second. If we had C to D sharp, again, that's not going to be a minor third, even though it's the same as if you're going from C to E flat, because it's got to be 2 something, because we're calling it D. So there you've got an augmented second. But an augmented second and a minor third are essentially the same thing, or at least they're the same distance. But it's all about what the spelling is. Then we have a major third to E natural, an augmented third to E sharp, a diminished fourth if we're going to F flat. So again, all of these, a major third, an augmented third and a diminished fourth, are exactly the same as a perfect fourth. No, what am I talking about? As a major third, sorry. I'm getting myself mixed up, which is not very helpful for you, I'm guessing. Sorry, I should have said a major third is C to E. That's the same thing as going C to E flat. So a major third and a diminished fourth are the same thing. Going from C to E sharp is an augmented third, which is the same as a perfect fourth. So those are actually slightly the wrong way around. I should have done that differently. Going a little bit further, because we've stretched the fourth by going from C to F sharp, that gives us an augmented fourth. Then we have a diminished fifth if it's going from C to G flat, and again both the augmented fourth and the diminished fifth are the same distance. And then a perfect fifth, an augmented fifth, because again we've just pushed it up by a semitone, a minor sixth, a major sixth, an augmented sixth, a minor seventh, a major seventh, and if we had, it's slipped off the end here, from C to B sharp is an octave. Or at least it sounds like an octave. But because we're calling the B a B, rather than calling it a C, it's a B sharp, which is the same pitch, it's the same key on a piano, that we're going to call, if we can actually see it on the bottom, a major seventh. And then finally, you would have the octave. So although there's a lot of words in there and some slightly confusing names, and it's all, how does all that work? And it's very easy to get things mixed up. In fact, you probably noticed that I did there, because I started gibbering a little bit like a fool. Essentially, the steps you want to go through here are, first of all, the first job is to work out what the sorry, I'm again trying to find the wrong page. It's that one. I'm not going to try and do two things at once, because all it's happening is I'm confusing myself. There we are. That was what I wanted. Right. I'm going to start this more sensibly. And we're going to clear some of that away. So if you have, I'll pick two notes at random. So the distance between those, that is a C and a G sharp. So your first step to work out what that interval is to go C, D, E, F, G. It's got to be a fifth of some description. And then we think, okay, the most common fifth is our perfect fifth. So is there a G sharp in a normal C scale, whether it's major or minor, because it's perfect, it doesn't matter. And so we think C major scale, a normal fifth would be C to G natural. But we want C to G sharp. So that has been stretched apart a little bit further to that. So therefore it must be an augmented fifth, because it's a fifth that's been stretched. If you have, actually no, I'll change it on that one again. C to B flat. Again, your first step, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. So that is going to be 5, 6, 7. So it's got to be a seventh of some description. So there, your first step is think, okay, in a major scale, is it B flat? Or is it a B flat in the minor scale? And it is in the minor scale that you get the B flat. So therefore, that must be a minor seventh. But if we respelled it, and instead of having it as B flat, we called it A sharp, even though they're the same distance apart, this time we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we've stretched our sixth. So therefore that would be an augmented sixth. So as with a lot of these things, if you're actually coming up with this in a music theory test or exam, the best thing is to think about the process you go through to try and work out how to answer the question, which is usually where we come across these sorts of things. So you might get something like this, where there's some notes highlighted, and like here and here, and you have to work out what the interval is. So, for example, if we're looking at, we'll start at this one at the bottom. So we have an A to a B flat. Now the important thing here is it doesn't matter what key the piece of music is in. All we're interested in is the distance from the lower note to the higher one. So it doesn't matter, this piece could be in F sharp major. It really doesn't matter. All we're worried about is thinking, okay, A to B flat. So that's a semitone. So they are two steps apart, A, B. So it's got to be a second. And a major second would be from A to B natural. And if you remember that the B flat, if it's a semitone, it's the weird one which for some reason we still call a minor second, even though there isn't a B flat in the A minor scale. So therefore, that we just count the steps and then work out whether it's major or minor or anything else. So here, for example, on this next one, we're going from an E. Now this is where exams like to trip you up. You look at this and you think, okay, E to A, that's easy. But have a little look earlier in the bar. There is an A flat. So that isn't E to A, it's E to A flat. So my top tip for anyone who is having any music exams is make sure you double check and triple check whether you've got any accidentals anywhere, because it's very easy to miss those. And if you do that, you're going to come unstuck. So here we're going from E to A flat. So count the steps first to get your number. E, F, G, A. It's a fourth, but it's not a perfect fourth because that should be from E to A natural. So this is going to be a diminished fourth because it's the distance of 4 steps but slightly smaller than usual, so it must be diminished. Now the other thing that will often crop up in exams and cause grief is when you get this. Not that it really causes much grief, but it's important to understand that even though here the interval is descending, we're going from a B natural down to a C sharp, it doesn't matter. What we're interested in is just the distance. So which order the notes go in doesn't matter at all. So again, we always start from the lower note. So here we're trying to work out the distance from C sharp to a B natural. So again, count the steps. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. We've got a seventh. We know it's that. In a C sharp scale, there should be a B sharp. So the fact that this is a B natural means that that B sharp has been moved down slightly. So that is going to be a minor seventh, not a major one, because otherwise it should be a B sharp. Here we've got, oh yes, D to C sharp, same process. Again, we can ignore the rest because we don't care about that. We're just looking at the distance from one note to another. So D, E, F, G, A, B, C, another seventh. A C sharp is in a D major scale, so therefore that's just a major seventh. As simple as that, he says. I hope that's made some sort of sense. I do apologise, I did start gibbering a little bit in the middle, which may not have helped too much. But, as I say, the important thing to do first is count the steps. That gives you your number. Then you just need to think whether it's major or minor, or if it's a fourth or fifth, it's going to be perfect if it exists in the scale. If it's not a note from either scale, then it's going to be either augmented or diminished. So if it's a little bit smaller, so if it's got a flat, or it's something that should have been a sharp which has been made a natural, then that distance has been squeezed down a bit, so it's diminished. If it's been moved a semitone further apart, it's going to be augmented. And that's all there is to it. I don't know if anyone's actually been watching this. We haven't had any questions. I can't see. Is anyone actually online? That's the question. Let me have a little look. Is that the right video? How to add chords? No, that's the other one. I don't seem to have anything here. So, if anyone is online, then please do ask a question. I can see it on Facebook. But no. Anyway, I'll stop gibbering. thank you very much for watching. I hope this has been some help. If you do still have any questions and you stumble across this video later, please do pop a little note on in the comments, and I will try and help, and I will try and maybe clarify things at a later date. Every Wednesday I do a live stream at 5 o'clock GMT, so you're going to have to work out whatever that is in your local time, or pop along either on Facebook or YouTube. Look for Alistair's Music Theory Q&A, and you can ask any questions and I will do my best to explain what's going on. So if there's something you're stuck with, either send me a message beforehand or you can ask a message in the chat on the video. Thanks very much, and I hope to see you again soon.